Alas, poor lady, desolate and left. Proteus soon found that his scheme for winning Silvia met with small success. He had already been false to Valentine, and now he intended to be false to Sir Thurio, but his treachery was likely to be of little avail. Silvia was far too good and true to be corrupted by his worthless gifts. When he protested his loyalty to her, she twitted him with his falsehood to his absent friend. When he praised her beauty, she bade him remember how he had been forsworn in breaking faith with Julia, whom he loved. But notwithstanding all her rebuffs and rebukes, the more she spurned Proteus, the greater grew his admiration for her, and though he knew well how basely he was acting both to Valentine and Julia, he had not enough strength of mind to turn aside from the temptation. That night, in accordance with what they had planned, Sir Thurio brought a band of musicians, and they sang a charming serenade outside the Duke of Milan's palace, under Silvia's chamber. This is the pretty song they sang. Who is Silvia? What is she? That all our swains commend her. Holy, fair, and wise is she. The heaven such grace did lend her, that she might admired be. Is she kind as she is fair? For beauty lives with kindness. Love doth to her eyes repair, to help him of his blindness, and, being helped, inhabits there. Then to Silvia let us sing, that Silvia is excelling. She excels each mortal thing upon the dull earth dwelling. To her garlands let us bring. Unknown to Proteus, there was another listener of whom he little recked. Julia, on arriving at Milan, had made inquiries for her faithless lover, and the landlord of the house where she lodged had brought her to this spot to see the man for whom she had been inquiring. Now, in her page's costume, she was a witness of her lover's inconstancy. Proteus had sworn 1,000 vows of love to her, and yet here he was, plainly playing court to another lady. Poor Julia! Sweet as the music was, it had little charm for her. She heard only the jarring discord of her lover's false words.
"Does this Sir Proteus that we speak of often come to visit this gentlewoman?" she asked her host.
"I tell you what, Launce, his man told me. He loves her beyond all measure," replied the host.
"Peace, stand aside, they are going,"
said Julia, stepping further back into the shadow. And she heard Proteus say, "Sir Thurio, do not fear. I will plead your cause so well that you will own my cunning wit is matchless." "Where do we meet?" asked Sir Thurio, as he prepared to depart with the musicians. "At St. Gregory's Well." "Farewell." And Proteus was left alone as Silvia appeared on the balcony of her window above. "Madam, good even to your ladyship," said Proteus.
"I thank you for your music, gentlemen. Who was that who spoke?"
"One, lady, whom, if you knew his true heart, you would quickly learn to know by his voice."
"Sir Proteus, I take it."
"Sir Proteus, gentle lady, and your servant."
"What is your will?"
"That I may fulfill yours."
"You have your wish. My will is this, that you immediately go home to bed, you subtle, perjured, false, disloyal man. Do you think I am so shallow, so witless, as to be won by your flattery? You, who have deceived so many by your vows? Return and make amends to your own lady. As for me, I swear by this moon that I am so far from granting your request that I despise you for your wrongful suit, and could chide myself even for the time I spend in talking to you."
"I grant that I did love a lady," said Proteus, "but she is dead."
"Supposing that she is, yet Valentine, your friend, is alive, to whom you yourself are witness that I am betrothed. Are you not ashamed to wrong him with his persistency?"
"I hear likewise that Valentine is dead."
"Imagine, then, that I also am dead, for, be assured, my love is buried in his grave."
"Sweet lady, let me take it from the earth."
"Go to your own lady's grave, and call her love thence, or at least bury your own in hers."
"Madam, if your heart be so pitiless, yet grant me your picture for the sake of my love, for since you yourself are devoted elsewhere, I am but a shadow, and to your shadow will I give my love."
"I am very loath to be your idol, sir, But since it suits your falsehood to admire shadows, send to me in the morning, and I will send the picture. And so, good rest."
"As wretches have overnight who wait for execution in the morning," said Proteus. Poor Julia overheard all this conversation between her faithless suitor and the Lady Silvia. It was impossible to doubt his falsehood any longer, yet so true and loving was her nature that she could not harden her heart to go away and never see him again. As it happened, Sir Proteus was staying at the very house in Milan where she had found a lodging. His thoughts just then were entirely absorbed with his latest fancy, and it never occurred to him to connect the stranger lad, who called himself Sebastian, with his own Lady Julia at Verona. But something about the pretty boy attracted his liking. Proteus's servant Launce was a silly clown, whose half-witted blunders were always bringing his master into ridicule, and, judging from Sebastian's face and bearing that he was well born and trustworthy, Proteus took him into his service as page.